That's why Harry Kane needs to stay at Spurs, right?
Facts.
That's what we're talking about. We're going to go to the calls right now and let's crack on with this. The question I asked before the break was, if you was Harry Kane, would you go to United with Solskjaer or stay and have Antonio Conte with Spurs? We've got Imi, who's a Tottenham fan. Imi, how are you?
Hello, mate. How are you?
Yeah, really good, mate. Really good. Look, obviously, big news potentially coming out that Conte could be the Spurs manager. Would you be happy with that?
I'd definitely be happy with that. I think all Spurs fans would be happy with it. But one thing that's kind of confused me is that people are still questioning whether Levy's going to give him any money. I understand why, because of inflation. But surely by this stage, Conte wouldn't even entertain the conversation if there wasn't going to be any money involved, and neither would Levy. So I think it's really strange. And also, Levy, even if he had any doubt, he tried doing that with Mourinho, manager with a lot of good reputation, blah, blah, blah. No money, no real money. And he's all that went. So whatever he is, he's not stupid, Levy. I can't see him making that mistake. I can't see him even entertaining it. Come to Tottenham, here's a couple of young players and good luck. I don't think he'd even do that.
I hear what you're saying to me, but in the same breath, I mean, managers, clubs, they give false promises all the time. I mean, Jamie, Courtney, as footballers, you know that.
Yeah,
contracts,
absolutely,
they'll say,
sold the dream.
Yeah, they'll say anything to
dream.
get them to sign the contracts. I'm sure that, Levy told Harry Kane X, Y, Z, we're going to win this, we're going to do this 2-3 years ago when he signed that deal. And now he's here like, well, now I can't get out of the deal and you gave me all these promises.
I appreciate that, but I think it's different for a promise that there's no chance of it happening, and then there's something that there might be a chance. So, i.e., let's take the example that you just said about Kane. Levy genuinely might have thought we might want something in 2 or 3 years. He may not have. But to come and tell Conte, listen, no worries. For example, here's a budget of X amount, but knowing in his head that he's going to give him nothing and you've got to work with, for example, what's on the table, I don't see what the upside is for any of us.
But is that not an argument that we've had with Pochettino, that we've had with Mourinho, we'll now have with Conte? And you say there's no upside because you probably think about it from the standpoint of maybe PR, but I think Levy's shown that as long as the books balance, that's what he's worried about, and that's not a normal football thing to think about in general. People think about winning trophies, whereas he's bothered about balancing the books. How does this stadium work for the NFL? And I'm not saying that's wrong or right. It's a different way to do it, but I don't think you can go by what's gone and saying, well, surely he will think about it in a different way, because I'm not sure that he will.
He's a businessman at the end of the day.
You're absolutely right, but if that's the case, let's say that you're going to be bringing in the revenue, the turnover from NFL, just for example. Why even approach someone like Conte? Give him what? How much is he going to want? 15, 20 million? Just go for Graham Potter. Go for whoever. What's the upside for Levy on forking out pretty much what he forked out for Mourinho for another year? Let's say they've even got a player in the club in a year or two. If they carry on the way they're going, let's say they value the club at $1 billion, whatever, even more. The way they're going, it might be even worth half of that. Mm-hmm. So what is the upside of approaching Conte if you're not going to give him any cash? He can't do anything without any cash. Where is it? And the fans and he screwed his reputation up so much with Mourinho. Mourinho was different. Mourinho was a great manager, but in a way, he was desperate to come to Tottenham.
Okay.
When he came to Tottenham.
All right, thanks, Timmy. Thanks, for your call. Keep them coming in 08717223344. Go on, Craig.
I just want to follow on from what you were saying. I do believe that Spurs are at a crossroads, and they definitely were when Jose came in, but now it's kind of like now or never. You've got the stadium. You're kind of slipping away from the top four now. Where did we finish? 7th. You're slipping away. So it's now you have to kind of go all in. Yeah. Put all your chips in. They said they did that with Mourinho, but they didn't really do it with Mourinho.
But it was a pandemic as well.
Yeah, I know, but you're getting regular, from Real Madrid with a buyback clause. Then you're getting Vinicius on loan, Bell on loan. It was like cheeky little deals here and there to try and... Now it's like, all right, you got to put your chips in properly. Conte's coming in. Real money. Let's get some real signings in and really make an impact.
Okay, let's go to Joe, who's a Chelsea fan. Good evening, Joe.
Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
Hi, Joe.
Obviously a Chelsea fan. You've seen Conte in the past. You follow him at Inter as well. Have you seen him?
Yeah, I follow a lot of Serie A, being half Italian and half English, so I follow it very well. Well, I've got 3 points, and the 4th point is the most important one. The first point is, remember, Conte's won the Serie A with Inter. He'd done a good job. They won it by a country mile. But we had a below-par Juventus. We had a below-par AC Milan. Atlanta was the only one that was really exciting. Second point is his temperament. remember, he's the one who texts Diego Costa, "I'm sorry, but you're not in my plans anymore." I mean, that's terrible. 3 is the money. Is he going to get the money? Because Conte's one of these players. I mean, he left Inter because he knew that Inter are in trouble financially.
Yeah, but this is the question that obviously Imi made a good point as well. Why would you bother even having the discussion with Levy if he's not coming to you saying, we're going to give you money?
Well, this is the 4th point. This is the fundamental point now, is that it's all going to hinge on what happens with Harry Kane, because at the end of the day, if they do manage to shift on Harry Kane and he gets 130 plus million, whatever, ins and outs, then possibly might entertain the idea. But
he is entertaining it, though. They're in discussions right now. Yeah, he is entertaining the idea already.
It's almost done.
That's what we're saying. He's entertaining it. They're having the discussions and negotiations as we speak.
Do you think it's because Harry Kane's going to go and the funds are going to be there?
Ideally, Conte would love him to stay, but I think Harry's, like I say, he doesn't really want to hang around anymore. He doesn't want to take another punt on another manager. He just wants to go. So it all hinges on whether they get the money for Kane, and then. But this is going to drag on now until Harry Kane's decided what he wants to do and what Levy wants to do with Kane.
Joe, I just want to ask you quickly. I know it's going to be difficult as a Chelsea fan to kind of get Spurs fans excited, but just give me one real positive that you took from Conte being as a manager at Chelsea.
First and foremost, he's very passionate. He's very serious in his job. Like I say, I've seen most of Inter's games in Serie A this season, and he doesn't smile a lot. He's very serious about his job. He takes everything, he analyses everything, and he's a good manager. My issue with Conte going to Spurs, I don't think Spurs is the club that's going to give him what he wants.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Joe.
Cheers, Joe.
Appreciate the call. Well, we've got Dan, who's a Manchester United fan. Dan, good evening.
How are we doing, guys? All right?
Yeah,
Hi, Dan.
We're good, mate. We're good. Are you worried as a Manchester United fan if Spurs get Conte?
Yeah, a little bit, because my thought process when I started hearing the noise come out of Inter Milan that he wasn't very happy over there, my first thought was, if Solskjaer gets a really bad tail end to the season, like we started off getting, if we'd have maybe fallen into a top 4 race instead, I'd have quite liked Conte as a manager, as much as it's a short burst of being not necessarily particularly successful. I would have quite liked that. I guess the only thing I would say about him going to Spurs is that I personally think there's a conversation that's being had that Kane is leaving and that he's going to try and lure Lukaku there. That's my thought on it. I think there's a good chance that the conversation that's been had is Levy said, right, we're going to sell Kane, we're going to have 150 million around that to spend. If you can get Lukaku at a half-decent price and have the rest to spend for yourself, can you build a good team around that? And I think that's the conversation that's been had.
Okay, here's a question for you, though. If you are Harry Kane, all of a sudden Antonio Conte comes into the football club. He's a top manager. He's winning titles, wherever he goes. Would you rather go United and have Solskjaer, or would you rather have and stay and have Antonio Conte at Spurs?
I just think Conte and Kane could, not necessarily a recipe for disaster, but I don't think Conte's going to be brought in to keep Harry Kane. I think that was potentially the job of Mourinho or the job of Pochettino if he'd have gone in, but I think Levy's maybe had his head turned a little bit and thought, well, wait a minute, I don't think I'm going to be able to keep Kane either way. I think if I am Kane, he's had a couple of chances to jump ship now. I think he does want to take that, not necessarily the next step. I don't necessarily think we are the next step, to be quite honest, but I think he does want to take a step in the direction of thinking, well, United finished second, can I take them to the Premier League? Can I be...
He's got more chance of winning a trophy, though, at Spurs with Conte than he has with Solskjaer at Man United.
Jamie, behave.
I don't know.
He has. I mean, he absolutely has.
I don't know. I don't know about that, because you've then got to think, well, how long does Conte need to build it? Because Solskjaer's had two and a half years to build a team, and we could be in the final phase of doing that, and Kane could be the key to doing that.
He's still won nothing,
though. No, you're absolutely right, he's won nothing. But I think if we sign Kane and, I don't know, a couple of other players alongside it, I think there's a very, very good chance that we could win something. But if Kane stays at Spurs and they buy a couple of players here, a couple of players there, they need much more than that to build a team.
Dan, quickly. Dan, quickly, Sancho or Kane? If you have one buy this summer, Sancho or Kane?
Sancho for the longevity.
Fair enough. Really?
See, a year ago maybe I'd have probably said that, but we need someone now to take us over the line. Sancho doesn't do that yet. Harry Kane does that.
Why not? Have you seen his numbers in Bundesliga?
To be fair, he is ridiculous. He is ridiculous. Yeah,
he should start. I think he should
start.
But
my issue again is Cavani. I love him. I think he's brilliant. Any young striker should be watching him. But how many years have we got of him? Exactly. Where that's the thing. Whereas I think Kane does that now.
Okay, get your calls in 08717 22 33 44. What's the minimum that Spurs need to achieve next season? This is kick off with me, Jamie O'Hara, Craig Mitch, and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.